All right, guys, we live in Kansas. And so, one of the most common things we see in Kansas is tornadoes. I can tell you, no matter where you go in the world, they find out you're from Kansas, you're Dorothy or Toto, and you have a dog named Toto. I can remember being in the elevator in Times Square in New York City, and a guy asked us where we were from, and we told him, and he got out of the elevator, and before the doors closed, he said, "Tell Dorothy hi." I was in Isle of Man, which is a little island between England and Ireland, and my husband was working there, and one of his co-workers from Scotland says, "I have two questions for you." And I said, "Oh, really?" And he goes, "Yes." He goes, "One, are tornadoes real? And two, why is your guys' toast always soggy?" And so I was doing clinicals at that time at Greensburg Hospital, and so I was told him the story of Greensburg and the tornado and the pictures that are in the hospital that are pretty awesome if you haven't seen them. They have a picture of the ambulances partway through the CT machine. It's pretty cool. And I told him to watch Twister because that's the best movie to me to explain a tornado. And then I said, our toast is always soggy because we butter it when it's hot. And he looked at me and he said, "I don't like soggy toast." I said, "Order it dry." He goes, "Never thought about that." Because they don't put butter on their toast when it's hot. They butter it when it's cool. And so therefore it's crunchy and not soggy. So no matter where you go, we're associated with tornadoes. Now, tornadoes is common in Kansas. Just like fire, I need you to know your policies and procedures of your facility. Some places have a certain hallway you take residents to. Some nursing homes have safe rooms. Some nursing homes, the newer built ones, have windows and doors and walls that are rated to withstand so much debris. And so if it's a certain type of watch, we will put people to bed, put their beds in the inside wall, and shut all the curtains, put an extra blanket on them. My nursing home, we put everybody in the hall and gave them a blanket to put over their head. Just know your policies and procedures of your facility. Now, we've only touched on a few disasters. Can you think of other disasters you might hear of that you might have to deal with? Did anybody see the nursing home in Texas when Harvey went through? There was actually a nursing home where the staff abandoned the residents during Harvey. The residents were left in floodwaters, no food, no electricity, and floodwaters for 3 days. By the time they got to them, there were 8 residents dead. They have pictures, you'll have to Google this, and they have pictures of residents sitting in wheelchair and the water is up to the top of their wheelchair wheels. Now, that is called abandonment. What's really sad about the story is there was a hospital across the street with a generator. But we cannot abandon our residents. I understand it's scarier than heck and it was a natural disaster and you're worried about your family and things. But know that if you leave residents without staff, you are abandoning them. You can be held liable if they die, and you can criminally be charged with involuntary manslaughter for those deaths. Now, usually when we have a disaster, one of the first things we do is call the bigwigs. The nurse gets on the phone, calls the DON, calls the administrator, the assistant DON, and this call tree goes out. And we try to figure out how we're going to care for our residents. And there's plans in place to tell us how to do it. So make sure you follow those policies and procedures. You're really not supposed to leave your residents unless there's somebody there to take over, to take care of them. So you can't abandon them. One teacher talks about one night somebody started smelling natural gas, and so they called the firemen. Well, when they walked in, their carbon dioxide or monoxide detector started going crazy, right? Because their furnace had died and carbon monoxide was filling the nursing home, and it's odorless, right? But it's a gas furnace, and the furnace had shut off, and luckily the nurse smelt the natural gas and called the firemen. She said it was the longest night of their life. They had to open every window, door, drawer, closet, and take vitals on the residents every hour. She said it was a really long night. So, other things you might see is I was really surprised last year before COVID, we were at clinicals and we had to do an active shooter drill in a nursing home where you all get in a closet or and you have to be quiet. It's because Ade's boyfriend got pissed and he walked in the building with a gun and started shooting residents and killed her and multiple residents. So unfortunately, I told this story in a class recently, and they said, "Oh, that just happened again." And 3 people were found or killed when a disgruntled boyfriend came in and shot. So active shooter is something we do practice at nursing homes as well. Most facilities will have drills for every kind of emergency you might have, but know where that disaster manual is and make sure that you follow those policies and procedures. Ask questions. If you don't know, ask.